Welcome back to Movie Trailer Reviews.net. This is Chris here, and I am being joined by the lovely Petty Kruger. How you doing, man?
I'm cool.
All right, we are here to review a sequel to a 2014 film. We are reviewing Ouija, Origin of Evil. I don't know if anybody ever cared or watched the original from 2014, which is called Ouija. But yeah, this is the sequel. It takes place in 1965 Los Angeles. A widowed mother and her two daughters add a new stunt to bolster their seance scam business, and unwittingly,
Wittingly?
I'm having a hard time today. Unwittingly invite authentic evil into their homes. It's been a long fucking day. All right, I worked 10 hours today. When the youngest daughter is overtaken by a merciless spirit, god damn it, I'm having a hard time today.
Merciless?
The family confront unthinkable fears to save her and send her possessor back into the other side. This is the longest fucking synopsis I've ever seen for a goddamn film. Anyway, it is directed by Mike Flanagan, and I don't know if anybody is recognizable that stars in this. Annalise Basso, I think she's the one that you said was in, what was it? Oculus. Yeah, she was a young girl in Oculus.
And the grown-up guy, the kid from E.T. who played Elliot, is the priest. But I didn't know that until I looked that up on IMDb. So
yeah, Henry Thomas. What the fuck have you been doing, dude? I'm looking through his IMDb right now.
Yeah, he's done a few things. He was in like Gangs in New York, and he was in something else somewhat like significant. I can't remember the name of the movie.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. All right.
He was in Legends of the Fall. He was
that's
Sam,
what it was. Yeah,
the youngest brother that died in the war.
Yeah, I knew there's something you were mentioning before about that. So
Brad Pitt cut out his heart. Sent it back home to his poppy.
So again, I was not looking forward to this because I remember watching the trailer. I remember when the first film came out in 2014, and it looked like the typical teens do dumb shit, and it's a really dumb movie, and I'm not gonna watch this bullshit. And so when they did, but this film for some reason, and we'll talk about it more, it just had looking at the trailer, it had a different feel, and it actually legit felt creepy and interesting. And
it's what the first movie probably ought to have been.
Yeah.
Because this is one of those rare cases where the prequel by far and away surpasses the first movie.
Yeah.
It is a much better film.
Yeah, it is surprisingly, right now, it is the best movie coming out this weekend on Rotten Tomatoes. It is at 80%. Not a lot of reviews because a lot of people are just not going to go see this film. But I'm not going to give a rating now, but I'll just say you should probably, out of all the films coming out this weekend, you should probably go try to give this film a try.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy yourself. It's very entertaining.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed myself, and I was looking forward to a nap.
Yeah.
The movie.
So to set this up, when we got there, you were literally telling me, first you were trying to get coffee, and then the line was taking forever to get the coffee. So you were just like, all right, I'm gonna let you know now. Don't make fun of me too much. I'm gonna fall asleep. I was like, I'll jab you in the ribs if you need to. He's like, yeah, no. And you were engaged this entire movie.
The whole movie.
Yeah. And
I surprised myself.
You surprised us all. I will say I think that one of the reasons why this movie is so good, and it goes back to something that we've been kind of seeing as a trend this entire year, creepy little white kids.
Yeah, like I said, this 2016 is the year of the child actor, because both of the young girls in this film do a brilliant job. Like, you believe them. They're very solid young actresses, and I applaud them for this.
Lulu Wilson plays Doris Xander, and she's the young girl that becomes possessed in here. And again, they add young kids just add a creepiness to these type of things when you can get them to do right. And Annalise, again, was from Oculus, and I think she did a really good job. She played the younger sister, in the younger
in the
version of the sister
flashbacks in that
the
movie.
flashbacks, and she was really good in that one as well. So now you have her older, and again they put out probably Elizabeth Reiser plays their mother Alice. I want to say the two young girls kind of overshadow her.
Yeah, I can give you that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're the ones that really sell those scenes. I mean, not saying, and I'm not saying she's bad.
Girl.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Doris. Oh, you believe her.
So basically, what happens is, as the synopsis said, their mother, their father, their father has died. Alice's husband has died. I think we find out that he was hit by a drunk driver at one point, and to pay the bills, they've been holding seances in the house. I mean, and they go through this whole thing about, and you see in the trailer about how they kind of scam these people, but they're not like doing it. It's definitely a scam, but even the way she kind of tells them, it's like they're not just trying to take their money, because even at one point,
they're actually trying to help families get closure with the people that they recently lost.
Right, because they don't have closure.
Right.
And that's really what the theme here is. And
yeah,
so
it's done out of compassion, but
right.
if they can skim a few dollars off of it, they'll take it.
Exactly.
Also, because the mama wasn't trying to get a real goddamn job.
Well, there's that. So
yeah.
So at one point they add this Ouija board to their act, and they even show you at one point how she's going to set it up so that she can control it with the magnets on her knee to have it going to where it needs to go. But then the
shit
spirit,
gets real.
The spirits in the house end up, possessing Doris, and shit just gets super creepy from there.
Yeah, and this should be noted that the rules to Ouija is 1, never play alone. 2, never play in a graveyard. And 3, always say goodbye. 2 of those 3 were problematic from jump. One of which is revealed a whole lot later in the movie. This isn't a spoiler, is it?
What, the spoiler review? No spoilers.
Okay, I won't spoil it then.
Yeah.
So
we'll talk about it. We'll talk spoilers in the next Nostalgia. We'll do that then.
If we remember. But so from there, Doris, she meets her new friend, whom they call Friend, and so when she's going around, she thinks that Friend is actually her father, but it's actually like a whole lot. There's like one ghost, there are like several.
So yeah,
but
there's
I guess
several.
The one that manifests the strongest was called Marcus.
Yeah, and because at one point she's able actually to legit, like, it was a scam before, but she's actually legit able to communicate, or at least they think she's able to communicate with these other spirits. So her mother kind of even pulls her out of school for like a week to have her going around and doing this, and which you later on kind of find out something about that and what's going on there, and it just gets really, really creepy. This is something we talked about.
That little girl, like, seriously, there's a part where, so when she's possessed, right? There's a scene where the boyfriend, her older sister's boyfriend, comes in, and as he's leaving, she stops him, and she like reads him his motherfucking life.
Oh, that's where
and
she tells
goes
him,
into this like detailed description of what it feels like to be strangled to death.
Right.
Hands, the way that baby delivered that line, those lines, I was like, holy crap! That is probably hands down the creepiest scene, because she was so convincing. that she knew what she was talking about. And I was like,
well, and I think
this
that
little
goes
heifer
to,
been here before.
and I think it goes to the way that they, one, it's her acting definitely, because again, if she couldn't act, they couldn't pull it off. But I think it also goes to how they shot that scene too. When they shoot the scene, it's almost, it's as she starts going further and further into it, there's a while where they just focus on her. So all you do is, and like you're literally thinking, is he choking while she's saying this? Like, cause she's just going into all this detail, and then they pull the camera back and they show him, and he's just standing like,
his
what?
face was all the color drained from his face.
Yeah, and that's when I go, yeah, dude, this is your fault. You never come back to this house. Like, I would never come back to the house. Like, your dick is not your friend for that shit, yeah.
Because
right.
He was doing all kinds of Cirque du Soleil shit from the end of a rope.
Yeah, well, ma'am.
Oh, shit. Okay, he was expendable anyway, guys. Y'all.
But yeah.
Sorry,
there's
slight spoiler. But
there's
come on, guys.
There's yeah.
In fact, I think in the trailer for this movie, so remember the original trailer for the 2014 movie is pretty much the same as the one for Ouija Origin of Evil. So that is not a spoiler.
No, it's a
spoiler.
spoiler.
The same exact scene in the trailer that's in both movies. So,
it's still a spoiler, ma'am. But no, to go back to that, what they kind of did here is an interesting thing. I don't want to say it definitely, because you end up finding out if you really look into it, there are characters that tie into both of these movies. But it really kind of is almost a soft reboot, because one, it's just I can tell you right now, it's a far superior movie just off of the way the trailers were shot. Far superior movie by the way they shot it. I mean, the opening of this, I think it's a Universal film, so they did the old school Universal Pictures logo when this film opened up to give you that old school. Was it 65?
It was even
grainy. I mean, it just feels that it feels just so much more like a good horror film. And compared to that, but they definitely do take a lot of the themes from that original movie, and they take them and they put them into this prequel. And I'm sorry, they just do them better. They just do them better, and it works. And we'll get into some of the things that don't work for this film, but I was very, very impressed. And it kind of goes back to something we've talked about on the Scaresologist, stuff like that before. Like, just how, I think it was last year, we were talking about how where horror films were lacking. And I have to say, man, this year, I've seen more good horror films than bad ones in theaters. And I think they're getting back to, I think the other thing with this film is it doesn't feel overly processed. I mean, there's definitely some CG in this film, but there's a lot of practical effects, and even the jump scares they're quality jump scares.
Yeah, there were a lot. And it kind of felt like, okay, so are you gonna try to scare me any other way?
Yeah.
But I think that's also kind of a lack in being able to build actual suspense, so you rely on the jump scare, because there were parts that weren't scary leading up to it, and there was just the jump scare, which I feel is a cheap shot, as opposed to building the suspense and then not having the scare and then scaring you right after that.
Yeah.
Kind of like when we see like those James Wan movies where you can't detect when the scare is coming.
Yeah.
He keeps you offbeat that way. This you could very much tell when things were coming.
Something else that we discussed that kind of held this film back from being probably, I don't even say not good, because to me this is a good film. But being not as good as some of the films we've seen horror films we've seen earlier this year, it was the whole, they added too much story in some places. Like, there's at one point, like I told you how the mother goes out to get the Ouija. They could have done it there. She went to buy the Ouija board to as a part of her act. They could have done it there, but they did this weird thing where they introduced they brought in they introduced the Ouija board by bringing Alina. She snuck out of the house. She went to her friend's place where she met her future boyfriend Mikey, and the other kids there, her mother had bought a Ouija board, and they were using it there and playing around with it there. That scene is honestly completely worthless. Like, it does nothing to the story. You don't need that to kind of build this relationship between Mikey and Lena, which they spent way too much time building up in some parts, because again, they're two teenagers who like each other. Like, you don't need to add more to that. Like, that's like, it's done. It's there. You're done. So they did some scenes like that at the school. Like, if you take those scenes out and add in more, because you later on find out more about
there was
the
a
spirits.
subplot that was way more interesting.
Yeah.
That should have been introduced earlier on in the movie, because that shit was crazy.
Yeah. And I think that's what kind of holds this film back, because that was way more intriguing thing. That kind of, it's almost like you get to the reveal of what's really going on, and it almost becomes a sprint to the end. You're like, wait a minute, like, you guys actually have a good movie here. We can take some time going, and you realize, oh wait, you guys wasted too much time, at the beginning of the film. Because remember, most horror films, 90 minutes or less is usually where you hold it at, and they had already wasted time earlier in the film trying to build up some of these other scenes. And I think, to kind of go back to something else that works, and it just hit me. And again, having not seen the first film, but just looking at the trailer, I almost feel like the first film probably centered way more on the Ouija board. This film does not. Like, it's there and it's used as a tool, but this film is not really about the Ouija board. It's more about the house and the spirit in them, and the board is just kind of a tool, which kind of leads to something weird that happens at the end where, again, not really a spoiler, they at some point try to destroy the board, and it, obviously because it's the board, it reappears.
That board was like, nah, son.
Right, and I'm like, I feel like that wasn't really earned, because, like, you spent all it's not really the board. That's the problem. But I feel like they had to throw that in there.
If you're the ghost, though, and you're fucking with people, you can, blow off the fire, dust it off, and put it back on the table,
Yeah, I mean, again, it could be explained. I'm going more from the idea of, from a plot point of view, it felt more like, it almost feels like this film, like whoever greenlit this film wanted to make a good horror film, but the only way they could do it is they sold it as a prequel to Ouija, because again, like, that scene almost feels like it's just added in there, because wait, if we don't put that scene in there, then there's no way to connect it to the original.
You know what I think? That this probably wasn't a true, like, maybe like the screenplays or the films for Ouija and Ouija: The Origins of Evil were in production at the same time, but because the first one was already further along,
that's a good point.
that was released first. But this one, because it was too much like the other movie, they put Ouija in front of it. Because honestly, there's like, well, hold on, because they have. Maybe it is actually, no, I take that back, because or no, maybe they could have rewritten it, because the story is pretty much the same. They just include Doris's backstory, because the way that this movie is put together and written, Doris in the original movie was evil. We never see her become evil in this. She's just possessed.
Ma'am, you're spoiling the film. You're not supposed to be doing spoilers.
Wait, what? What did I say?
Well, Doris. That's kind of.
No, but she's the antagonist in the first movie.
Oh, okay.
And like, she's the antagonist ghost in the first movie, and so this movie is supposed to start her, or is supposed to tell us how she became evil, but she's not technically evil.
Yeah, true. Oh, so, you know what I just realized?
I'm just thinking of that off the top of my head. That it was probably a movie that was similar, but
but I'm looking at it now. It seems like this is from the plan from the beginning, that in January 2015, reports of a sequel were announced, and they confirmed the film was in development, but didn't have a
Who
release
directed
date.
the first Ouija? And who?
So
Is
that's
it the
why.
same person?
No, that's what I was about to say. So the reason why we get an Oculus feel from it, Mike Flanagan directed and co-wrote the sequel with this Oculus co-writer. So he
Okay.
so I think he let me go from this. Let me see.
So who did the first one?
I'm looking for it now. Styles White.
Hmm.
I don't know who that is. Let's see what he did. Oh yeah, this guy did. He's worked on The Sixth Sense, but no. What is he known for? He did special. Is he a special effects guy? Yeah, his only director work was Ouija.
Oh, and
He
he was a
he's basically a special
practical.
effects guy. He was a special effects guy. He was a special effects guy on internet with the Interview with the Vampire, the Vampire Chronicles. He did Lake Placid, The Sixth Sense production coordinator. So yeah, he never really directed anything before. But Mike
Okay,
Flanagan,
it's harder for direct for special effects guys
yeah,
to get behind get into the director's chair. I mean,
mm-hmm.
notably for fans of the Friday the 13th series, Jason, like the fifth movie was done by the special effects person from
Mm-hmm.
episode from the second or third movie, I want to say, and I can't remember his name, and I'm not going to look it up,
Yeah.
but I
So
know that that's like one notable failure because everyone hates Friday the 13th Part 5.
yeah.
The only successful person has been uh, what's my dude from not um I'm blanking. I should have drank before this. Why
So
didn't I
anyway,
drink?
while you're trying to think of that, Mike Flanagan, who directed this prequel, Origins of Evil, he's the one that wrote the original Oculus short screenplay. He directed it. He directed the actual movie, and then he wrote. And then did he write this one? I don't think he wrote Origins of Evil, but he definitely directed this. I think Jeff
Okay.
Howard. Yeah, Jeff Howard was his co-writer on Oculus. So it totally makes sense why this film is better. They actually got, this is something that I've never seen happen before, where they actually get a better crew to do the next film after the first shitty film. So
Right.
they actually went out and got people, and maybe it's because maybe that first Ouija movie did money. Let me go see what that first Ouija movie did,
Okay.
because
And while you're doing that, Tom Savini,
what did he do?
he did Night of the Living Dead,
Ah,
the 1990 remake, and he's also done some smaller projects. But yeah,
oh.
he's probably like one of the most successful practical effects guys that was able to make the transition to directing movies and doing it competently.
So I found out why they were able to confidently get a more competent crew to do the second film. The first film cost $5 million to make. You know how much it made?
Hmm.
It made $100 million.
God.
This is
Foreign
off.
box office,
And
I'm guessing.
huh?
Foreign box office, I'm guessing.
Let's see. Yeah, probably mostly in foreign.
Damn you, China.
Let me see. No, no, no,
Actually,
no,
no.
no,
Thank you,
no, no.
China.
50. It made 50 million domestic, and it made about 52 million overseas. So even
Well,
then,
how about
it's a
that?
$5 million budget. So even if it just made the 50 million, that's still a plus. And the original film was on Rotten Tomatoes was a 7%. This film is going to be way better than that. It's a way better film. This is a first for me. I've never
This
seen a
is the
film.
first.
I've never seen a first film be so badly rated, make that much money, and then they come in and they actually improve on it. Usually what happens, they double down. They're like, hey, we made so much money making a dumb film. Let's do it again. They did not do that here. And yeah, I'm
This
again,
movie should really supplant the first one.
Absolutely, I would say the first one didn't even exist. Like
Yeah.
I definitely watch them remake that that first film, following this footsteps because this was yeah, this was great. This was a as unexpected and surprising and great. So
Yeah. Now, can
no,
I drop a theory?
no,
And this is
please go.
actually not my theory. I literally was looking a new video popped up on my YouTube feed from the film theory guys, and the video is called Ouija is the sequel to The Exorcist. And the the video posits that Ouija is a sequel to The Exorcist because they both occur in the same universe. Shall I go on?
I mean, okay.
Okay. Okay. So basically, so The Exorcist happens sometime after like 1954, but before 1971, which is when like the book actually comes out.
Mm-hmm.
So given like the clothes and everything, it looks like it's in the 60s at some point. So the events in The Exorcist take place uh, in DC some point in the 60s, and Reagan, her first interaction with the spirit world is by using a Ouija board
Hmm.
by herself, and she has an invisible friend, Captain Howdy. Cool. So all the events of that movie transpires. They move to LA, um, most likely taking the Ouija board with them, and possibly, given all the shit that happened, what's her face might have been enrolled into the Catholic school. So
And they definitely
the
enrolled.
events,
Their daughters were definitely enrolled in the Catholic school here.
yes, and this movie takes place. I want to say the screen said 1967, right?
For this
So
film, no, this film is
yeah.
1965.
Oh,
I,
okay. So
I
it takes
believe.
place in the 60s. So like she could like that board that they got could have been, though I don't know. It's whatever. It's could have been most likely whatever.
Hmm? Wait, what?
But I mean, because it
Are
wasn't
you?
a new board, and that looked like they got like a brand new Ouija board from the
Well,
store.
well, the other thing too.
But
To keep the theory going, it doesn't have to be that the board. Remember, even this film, I think it kind of. I think the board in this film plays so much less of a role than the original
actually, yeah,
one,
you're right.
and so it does. It's not really the board. The board itself is more of a tool, and it could
Yeah,
be
it's
because
pretty
because
inconsequential.
like I said, because they got a new this is a new board. It's not like they
Hmm.
found this board in this film in this house. They got a
Right.
new board, and it still was able to channel these spirits. So
Yeah, and
it
their
doesn't ruin the
possessions were
theory.
very similar.
Mm-hmm. That's like
So, which that is a theory that I can buy. I will forward you the link so you can put it in the show notes. But I thought that was pretty freaking fascinating.
yeah. No, I think. Excuse me. I think it is, and I think yeah. Here's the thing. I'd be willing to watch this again. And like I said, we've seen several horror films this year that have been surprising to me. Like I've been thoroughly surprised, and I'm all in. I really think people, and it's not one of those films that's too scary that you can't go out there and watch it. I really think people will enjoy it.
No, it's fairly bloodless.
Yeah,
It's PG-13, right?
yeah. It's just creepy. I mean, that's really the thing. It's just fucking creepy as shit. So,
Yeah, go see this movie. It's definitely like a matinee
would you give it
popcorn
out of
movie.
10? 10. I was gonna give it I was gonna give it a strong 7.5.
Yeah, I concur with that.
Okay, all right. Ooh,
Are
excuse
there
me.
any other movies coming out that have creepy children? Because I kind of, if the year is going to end, I would like it to end on a high note, and this could be the high note. This could be the film that cements
Well,
2016 as the year of the child actor in horror
well,
movies.
I'm still looking. I'm still waiting to see when and I think it might be out. We'll have to look and see. The girl with all the gifts. 'Cause that should have came out October 11th, I think. So that's the one with that's the one with the zombies. The zombie girl.
Well, I predict that will be good.
Yeah, no, that one looks. Let's see. Let's see. And let me see. And then go, because I'm going to see if it comes out yet. That's the one I've been kind of waiting for. I've been really waiting to see that that film. I still, it's supposed to open October 11th, but I think it's probably still a limited release. So I don't think it's. Still don't think it's out in these theaters yet. No, it's not. So, but yeah, that's the one. That's the one I'm waiting on. I'm waiting to see about that. So, and again, child actor in it, and I wouldn't be surprised. So, all right, ma'am. We gave this a 7.5. Anything else you want to say?
No.
Alrighty. You can find the rest of our reviews on trailerreviews.net. Search for Movie Trailer Reviews on iTunes, Stitcher Radio. Here, myself and Miss Patty Kruger on MTR Premium Network for Scarestalgia, and I'll be making an announcement this week. Excuse me, got the hiccups now. About this weekend, about another show that you will be on the network coming soon. But I'll hold that response that reveal off until this weekend. So, again, folks, thank you very much for listening, and until next time, we are out of here. Peace.